Um, Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, let me take this time to wish everyone peace and blessings and good health. I hope everybody is doing what's necessary to stay safe, and I hope everybody who's out here for the cause is actually out here um, with pure motives in mind and doing your best to stay peaceful and nonviolent. So today, I wanted to take the time to talk on this whole thing about Mr. George Floyd. All right. Um, I wanted to actually tie this into everything, y'all. To everything we saw over the past, in recent history. You know what I'm saying? Even going all the way back to. I think a lot of people think this is. I think a lot of people look at this as a new thing, but the first time that we were witness to someone dying on camera or being beaten, viciously beaten on camera, was Rodney King. All right. Um, as a man, even back then with Rodney King, I think I was 11 or 12 years old. Um, Even back then, there was a white individual by the name of Reginald Denny who was dragged out of his truck and beaten. And the same um, empathy that I had for Rodney King, I had for Reginald Denny. Um, an ass whooping is an ass whooping, and it is what it is. But speaking on what happened today, y'all. I mean, what happened? What's going on today, and what's going on? What just happened a week ago, and for that matter, in the same city where just 2 years ago, Philando Castile was, and I hope I'm saying his name right, um, was murdered. Um, Speaking on this thing, what we are seeing today is not a one. For those who don't know, it's not a one-shot deal. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not seeing or feeling anything different with Mr. Floyd, with George Floyd, that we didn't feel with Trayvon Martin, that we didn't feel with Philando Castile, Mike Brown, Eddie Gray, um, um, Walter Scott, all of these individuals. This is not different to us. You know what I'm saying? So it seems to be drawing a different reaction. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a whole lot less to draw our attention away. You know what I'm saying? But I know I see a lot of people, and I'm going to try to address everything that I've seen on social media and all of these different reactions that I've seen on social media. All right. I've seen the reaction where people were talking about, well, Martin Luther King changed the world peacefully. Do y'all remember what it was met with? It wasn't met with peace. His plight wasn't met with peace. It was met with dogs biting people, being beaten by with billy clubs and bayonets, being shot with water hoses, being choked out, and then eventually it was met with his demise with an assassination. Tell the whole story, okay? I'm reminded with all of these riots and all of these things, I'm reminded of something that Martin Luther King said. Martin Luther King said that riots are the language in which the unheard speaks. So I want y'all to recognize what it means. The kneeling, you sons of bitches need to play football and stand up for the flag and this, that, and the third. The Kaepernick kneeling. LeBron James, shut up. LeBron James and Kevin Durant, shut up and dribble. Um, Black Lives Matter. Oh well, all lives matter. Uh, Everything that's been done peacefully. All of these guys that have been murdered, and people march the streets peacefully. Nothing happened because nobody was trying to hear it. As a matter of fact, in every one of those situations, somehow they tried to change the narrative to even a black uh, TV personality, Jason. Shit. Jason. Can't remember his name right now. It escapes me. I talk about this dude all the time. Whitlock. Jason Whitlock. Um, said that LeBron James, when the word nigger was painted on his house, he said that LeBron James was too rich to experience racism, which is the fucking dumbest shit I ever heard. Um, Racism has no money attached to it. It has no dollar amount attached to it. Racism is racism. It's when someone hates you or dislikes you because of because of the color of your skin. That's what racism is. You know what I'm saying? Even a black person can be racist against black people. All right, so kill that noise. All right, now um, we're not watching this and seeing something different, but obviously this shit has touched. When we're seeing these demonstrations and these protests, there seem to be a very large amount of white people there. All right, so naturally, I worry about why people are doing it. Is it because you're bored and you've been sitting in the house for 2 months, or um, is it because you're clout chasing, or you want to be a part of something, or whatever the case may be? All right. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, I hope everyone, if you're out and you're demonstrating, I hope first and foremost that you're trying very hard to be safe because I don't condone it, but I understand it. I understand the passion and I understand the pain. Um, but I hope that you're doing whatever is necessary to keep from being violent and keep from looting and whatever the case may be. Um, and the other thing is, I hope that you're not out here doing it for some false reason that's just phony. You know what I'm saying? I hope that you're real about your shit and you have real emotions to what you saw, because what you saw was now we're gonna get into it. What you saw was an execution. What you saw was someone being murdered. What you saw was someone being tortured, and what you saw was someone being lynched. All right. So for those who don't know what a lynching is, it's when a minimal amount of people gets jumped on or gets beaten or gets killed or attacked by numerous people. All right. So let me break that down to you. A lot of people are sitting back and they're asking, well, why didn't the other officer stop them? Because they were participants in this whole murder. Okay. There were two other officers that had their knees in other parts of his back. I mean, in other parts of his body, such as his back and his legs, so he was completely restrained. That means when you are being asphyxiated, when you are being choked, you are looking for relief. And that means he was being prevented from trying to find a position to actually find relief from that knee being in his neck. He's already handcuffed. He can't move and use his arms. He can't use his arms to move and try to gain comfort. He's completely helpless to the situation. All right, so we start there. All right, there is a fourth guy who is stopping the crowd from getting close, who is actually preventing the crowd and also ignoring the crowd when they're telling him what the situation is. They're telling him he's not moving. They're telling him that he's bleeding from his nose. They're telling him that he's not breathing. They're asking him to check his pulse. He's actually out there putting his hands on other individuals and other bystanders when it is not illegal for anyone to record you. All right, it's not illegal for any officer to be recorded. All right, so this is the deal with that. you are also contributing to what is happening behind you. All right. So here's the thing: when it comes to a lynching, when it comes to a lynching, all right. When it comes to a lynching, here's the deal. Every person that is involved are equal, equally responsible for the actions and for the turnout. Every single person. All right. So even if you were holding his legs while he was being asphyxiated, even if you were holding his back while he was being asphyxiated, even if you were refusing to check his pulse while he was being asphyxiated, you are an accomplice to a murder. Alright? It just is what it is by law. Alright? That was murder. That was torture. That was a pure execution. And the most disturbing thing, as I watched it again today, and I tried my very best not to watch the whole video, y'all, but I had to go back and watch it. And the most disturbing thing was, as he was going out, maybe it's just me, maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me, and I would love for someone to watch this video and actually comment and let me know if what I saw wasn't the case, or if it was the case in your opinion. But it just looked like he was driving his knee into his neck even more. And the thing about it is, the worst shit is if you weren't using your hands to restrain him, he wasn't a threat to you. He didn't deserve to die. You had your hands in your pocket while you had your full weight on his back. And between the three people, I would say it's anywhere between 550 and 600 pounds. No normal man can move and gain comfort when there's 600 pounds on the back of your body. It hurt to watch that. It hurt. It broke my heart to watch that. Because as a black man who's raising black men, it's just scary. It's just scary, like not knowing. You get pulled over by someone who you pay to protect you from evil things. And here's the thing. Those evil things can include one of your own. If you see him doing something evil to me and you are employed by me, if you see this person doing evil things to me, he is in no way, no shape or form above the law, and you should step in and intervene and stop that situation. That's your job, to protect me from all evil. Because I pay you to do that. So a lot of this shit has been about changing the narrative of whether it's peaceful protests or whatever the case may be. And I want y'all to understand something. And the best way that I can put it is this. You ever had someone who's aggravating you, poking you, prodding you, or whatever the case may be, poking you and prodding you, and you want them to stop and they just bothering you? Like, let's say you're sleeping or you're doing something trying to be peaceful or whatever the case may be, and they just keep fucking with you and keep bothering you until eventually you say, I'm about to knock the hell out of this person. So when y'all talking about your peaceful protest, from the Oscar speeches or the Emmy speeches to the athletes stepping up, to the kneeling, the demonstrations, to just normal conversations or whatnot, to us telling you how tired we are of watching unarmed individuals being killed over the smallest things, like being killed over the smallest things like going to the store for some Skittles and an Arizona drink, or um, hustling cigarettes, playing in the park, playing cops and robbers with a toy gun, or um, having a broken tail light, or um, standing on the corner just chilling, or walking through the park. The Tamir Rices, the Trayvon Martins, the Mike Browns, the Walter Scotts, the three fellas in New York City, the Philando Castiles, um, so on and so forth. That's a compilation. That's a big compilation. That's compiling some shit, y'all. And we've watched it over and over again. And as I stated, I hadn't seen anything different in any of those cases than what I saw Saturday. I mean, what I saw last Monday, and what I just watched again. So maybe it looked a little bit different to you because because those things are just in your eyes you may think are judgment calls. But the reason that you don't understand is because it's not something that you have to worry about as if you're outside the black race. You don't have to worry about if you go get pulled over, will you make it home to see your kids? You don't have to worry about if you're ever going to see your kids again, if you're ever going to see your mom again, your brother, your sisters, cousins, so on and so forth, your friends. Because that's not the life you live. But when you hear it, try to empathize. Try to empathize. Stop telling us how we should think because you don't know how we should think. And the only thing we want to be is heard. And we want to be equal. Stop telling us about riots because this country was built on a riot, y'all. Do y'all not remember the story of the Boston Tea Party? Because everybody's talking about you're not supposed to burn people's property down and this, that, and the third. Don't y'all remember the story of the Boston Tea Party, which started the whole Revolutionary War? When when the United States took England's tea and threw that shit overboard into a harbor in order to set off a reaction to get a war started. Because when the United States was saying we want to be a free country, we want to be our own country, England wasn't trying to hear it. So actions had to happen. All right. So the references to Martin Luther King being a peaceful demonstrator or whatnot are hypocritical. I don't condone any of it. I don't condone it, but I do understand the passion that comes behind it. I understand the psychology that brought people to do this, and I do understand what is going on. Like, just because you don't condone something doesn't mean you don't understand it. Like, you don't have to understand. You don't have to know what it feels like to understand what I say to you. Because I speak to you with English. We both speak English. You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. As a black man, if I was speaking to a white individual or a Puerto Rican individual or Latino individual, Asian individual who speaks English, you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. You should be able to empathize. And for those of you who decided to make these comparisons, whether I'm going to address this shit two ways, when you try to make these comparisons to Black Lives Matter and police brutality, and to making that comparison to black on black crime, it only shows a lack of respect if you're white. because you have no idea the dynamics that come with black on black crime. You have no idea to be able to speak on the poverty that exists amongst the black community, where everyone is chasing the same dollar or chasing the same woman, because that's normally what black on black crime comes down to: either money or women or men, whatever the case may be. That's generally what it comes down to. We're chasing the same thing. And then mostly money, mostly drugs, whatever the case may be, which is an extension of money. But you don't know. You don't know what it's like to live black. You don't know what it's like to step out the door and not know if you're not going to make it home because you could be pulled over by a cop. And he might be having a bad day, or he just don't like the way you look, or he just doesn't like the color of your skin or whatnot, and he think that there's a certain way that he should treat you. You don't know. You've never faced that. You've never sent your kids out and wondered if they were going to be pulled over or stopped and treated unfairly. So with all of that being said, if you're going to judge objectively. Put yourself in a person's shoes. Keep it 100. Think from something other than yourself. Alright? All of these things that you're putting on social media, think about it. Because the fact of the matter is, there are some people who are questioning the black on black, and I do need to address this for to black people too. Black on black crime as compared to stop it. Black people, stop it. It's not the same thing. Yes, both of them need to be fixed, but guess what? That's something that is external and it needs to be fixed. The police brutality and all of that stuff, that needs to be fixed externally. Alright? That we get the same rights. And that, for me, I believe that you should start taking it not out of their pension, but out of policemen. Like when these people are getting sued, stop taking it out of our money that we're putting into the system. Take it from them. And take it from, I bet you policemen will start to police each other better if they know that a portion of their pension is going to go to the family of the person who dies. I guarantee you will have cops looking after each other a little bit more. But back to the black on black crime, it's not the same. But they both need to be addressed. We do need to address black on black crime. We do need to address fussing and fighting with each other. We do need to address hating on each other. We do need to address not being able to enjoy when someone moves up in life, and stop talking shit about people because they doing better with their life, and to applaud that shit. We do need to talk about that, but that's a conversation that has to happen between us. That's how that get fixed. That we find ways to come together rather than separate from each other until someone dies. And that's when we come together. That we learn how to give each other roses while we're here, so we can actually enjoy them and get to smell them. Let's do that. We are responsible. We are responsible for that. Stop hurting each other. Let's go legit, because we give them the reason. That's what they come back and say. These whole 4 or 5 years that that people have been speaking up, the rebuttal to cops doing us dirty has been, well, look what happens in Chicago. Y'all kill each other. In other words, if you don't respect each other, why should we respect you? That's what it comes down to. So we have to do our part within ourselves and fix us. For real. That's how we build strength. is to learn how to love and respect it. And people been and you think is you think what I'm saying is not real? Think about this for a second. Why do you think women are coming out and saying and letting us know once George Floyd died, black men, I love you? Why do you think black women are saying that? Because what's easier for them to do? Something that they do just about every day. Express their hatred and disdain for us. So it takes for someone to die unjustly to see how unfair the world is to a black man for them to express that. Love me every day, and maybe we can get somewhere. Let me love you back every day, and maybe we can build together. Stop thinking it's all about you. I'll stop thinking that it's all about me, and maybe we can get together, get somewhere together. Show off.